Hello everyone, today we are going to play Expeditions, the Ironclad edition, which just basically means metal mechs. But we are going to be playing this solo. I have only played the game once, and that was at 3 players so far. This is my first attempt at solo, so if I do screw anything up, I will be putting it in the description box / as a pinned comment if I make any huge blunders, but do let me know if you clock anything else. I've done the setup and you can see that in a separate video. I thought we'd jump basically straight into the action. I'm going to be playing over here and I will be trying to show you at least a good chunk of the cards, or at least explaining what they do. My hand is down here. I'm working with limited room, but that's what we're working with. Basically, the way this is going to work is I take an action and then the autonomate will be taking an action using sort of specifically determined cards. So I'll give these a bit of a shuffle because I've seen a couple of them. So we are trying to effectively go out and explore and get 4 glory tokens down before my opponent gets 8. At that point, the autonomate will be scoring for map tokens it's found, corruption, and also the stars that it's managed to put onto this base camp, while I will be scoring pretty much as normal and hoping that I've done a relatively good job. Probably won't, because this is the first attempt at solo. We're on level 2, which is recommended in the rulebook though. So first of all, I'm going to have a look. My first action, I'll be doing a bit of everything. And if we have a look at my cards, well, I'm probably going to want to get a yellow worker if possible. And that's because I can gain a face-up meteorite later on if I play that, you see. So I can even do that on this turn. So maybe let's start off by moving here. I'm going to move, play and gather. I can do those in any order. I'm going to first of all move to here, which will allow me to either take a blue, which would work for this one, or I may do this and activate the previous card's abilities. That's quite an interesting one. I've not played with this character companion combination, but I said I was going to get a yellow worker, so a yellow worker we will claim. Next, I've done the move. I've done the gather. I'm now playing this card. So I'm going to play it over here into my row. I'll try and keep that on screen if possible. I'll place this down here. I'll move my power up by 1. And then I'll gain a face-up meteorite, which I should probably have checked if there were any available. There are items out there at the moment. However, I could also solve. So, well, at the moment, let's just keep that guy there. We're not doing too much. Pretty bad first turn. Should have probably read things. But at least we've got that there for now. And now we do the first autonomous turn. So we're going to advance their cube because that's what it says to do, unfortunately. And then we look down here. The first one, the top one, is going to move on twice unless they had 5 glory. They've got no glory at the moment. So moving on 1, 2. This one, however, is looking for a map token. Well, it's actually on one and it has no they have no glory, but it will actually take this. So that's 1 map tile already discovered by my opponent. So they're going to go there and obviously they will get this token. The map tokens I've just checked are for a point for them at the end of the game. That's their turn done, so we can put that in a discard pile, and now back to me. Well, not too much that I can do, but I'm probably going to want to get some more cards. Now on to my second turn, so I've only got 1 card left in hand, 1 in my active row, but I'm still going to, in this case, move and then gather. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to move across, because we can move up to 3, but you have to move at least 1. We're going to move across to this secret facility here. We're going to draw the top card from the deck. This does unfortunately go into our active row, but we are then allowed to take a card back into our hand and recover it. Well, in this one, if I take this back, I could play it, and it would allow me to gather and pay corruption to include a benefit covered by corruption. So pay a guile, to do... So right now, that should actually have some bits on it. I completely missed that. So we should have 5+. So let's draw 4. And a 5. Well, that's quite hard to do, considering it should only have been a 5+. But there you have it. I could potentially be gathering and gaining that ability that's currently smuggled under there. That's the end of my turn because I did my move and gather. So we're going to turn the next card over. They have gained their first glory token. Boo! The top one is not on 4 glory, so we're good on that one. It's going to just move along the top. However, again, we have the right amount, so they're going to move. They're going to look in the next 3, find a map tile, and flip it over. And, well, that is the end of their turn, but, well, they're doing not too bad so far. While I would probably want to move and gather again, it's not really something that we can do very easily because it has to move to one of the other spaces. And with lots of items out there, well, it looks like we're going to maybe want to do that upgrading, which at the moment we can't see too much of. And we also can't see this because I've forgotten to put these out again. So that's a 3. And that's another 3. I'm pulling them from the same bag, and yet I seem to pull one lot of colour than the other. So, I think we are going to potentially move and play, because that allows us to move across here. We can't do the location action because we've not done that gather. So instead we're going to play one of these. Well, let's just play this. That gets us another power, and that goes over there. If we activate that, however, I can choose to gather because that's giving me that, which gets me any of the face-up cards. So let's have a quick look around. Well, at the moment, we've only got that yellow worker. So perhaps gaining over this, maybe this would be a good card because it's got a yellow worker slot on it. Yes, we've got 1 yellow worker and it's spent already, but that's going to give us a lot of options to use, of how to use the yellow worker. Let's see what they're doing. And their cube is moving on again. I think that's probably going to be quite consistent. The next one, the top, they've only got 1 glory, so they're going to move on 3. 1, 2, 3, and they will wrap around back to the top in a second. And this, that one even, not me, is just going to be moving on 2. It's not going to be doing anything this time. Okay. So we could come here and get a purple worker, but they are pretty useless to us at the moment. Let's refill that up there. Oh, there's a quest card now. Ah, that's interesting. Quests are a good way for us to up our score, because the more hearts you have, the more the stars that we get on the base are worth it. Basically, if you don't have any quests completed, they're 5, but if you have 3 or more quests completed, they're worth 10. So you can really see how that can ramp up. Well, we're going to now choose to play. No, we're going to move and gather. Why not? Let's try and find some stuff. So let's gather first. We'll take a card and we will take that quest. That quest is going to require exactly things that we already have in terms of it needs 2 power. And, well, we've got that. It needs to get to number 7, which, well, it's one of these. So let's move over here and we're going to uncover this. So we'll take that map tile. Uncover this. Number 11. Not quite the one we were looking for, but oh well. So we have gathered, we have moved, and we are then, because we're not forgetting, we're going to fill from the bag. we are also going to fill a slot here. Now it's time for the autonomer. They are going to have their cube moved on 1. So this is a real rushing track at the moment. 7 doesn't happen. They don't have 7 glory. They have 1 glory. So they're going to wrap around and move 3 spaces. So 1, 2, 3. That top mech not doing much at the moment, thankfully. Unfortunately, though, this person is. They have more than 0 glory. So they're going to take that and flip this one over. It's still not quite the space we were looking for, but they have got another map token. So they are doing quite good for themselves. And we have pulled these tokens out. Ooh, let's spin that round so it's the right way up. And now we can venture on to our turn. Well, I think I still want to go down this route of moving and trying to maybe find this quest early. Just trying to get us a little bump up. And, well, it just makes sense. We can move through the spaces with them. We can't move any further than this, though. So let's take that map token. And we're going to... Well, there we go. Only need the 1 token there because that's a 5 and it needed a 5+. So we're there and we're going to be playing a card. Well, we can play it from here. That's probably off screen for you, so I'll start a new row. We'll swap those around. We'll go from the top. And then, so 1, 2, 3. So they're in order because the order does matter. And that gives us 1 power. We can't activate the bottom ability. And that is our turn done. Oh. Their cube is going to move on. The top one, they don't have the 3 glory, thankfully, still. So they are going to sweep, and that means they effectively are going to discard some of the cards that are around them. They're going to refill, so we've got a quest, and we have a meteorite. So that could be useful, because we had that card that helps us get a meteorite. So that's what they have done, and then they're going to move on 1. And then the bottom one is now not going to do anything because they're only on 1 and it's asking for 4. I'm not sure if you can see these. I'm trying to read through them as much as possible. So it's going to move on 2. It skips my space. 1, 2. And that is the autonomer done. I'm actually enjoying the speed that theirs is done at. So it's also meaning it's back to me quite quickly. We are going to, I think we're going to move and gather. Do we want to gather first? We don't know what's on this space, but we definitely want to come here at some point to gain 2 of those. So I think we're going to do that, gather 2 guile from this tile here, and then we'll move onto this space. Take the map token, which means we're actually getting a bit of a collection of them, and we still haven't found number 7, which means there's only one place that it can be, and this friendly chap is currently stood on it. That's a bit unfortunate, and to be honest, well, we kind of lucked a little bit. While this is good because you get to refresh your sort of cards, it would sweep quite a lot of the, well, it would sweep all the cards up, so it's good and bad, but I want that meteorite at the moment, so let's keep going. We have moved, we gathered, then we moved. It's their turn. They're going to move on. They are now up to 2 glory. Boo! But they need 3 glory to do anything, so the blue one's just going to move on 1. I feel like the further away, those are much bigger tiles and could potentially speed up, so at some point this closer central one's going to become less impactful, but that bad one over there is going to become good, and the bottom one, that's just going to loop back around and go 1, 2, 3, which is very helpful for us because it's opened up that space there. Thank God for that. But we will need a card back, So this is where it gets interesting. I definitely want to get to that space because that's going to be number 7. It has to be because none of these are 7 and that is in the central area as indicated by the card which the quest is on. So I think what we should do here is move, but I kind of also want to refresh. I think I'm going to take the refresh action, which gets everything back from over here, but basically means we don't do much else. And I'm going to do it in a way that I remember my quest card is going to be here, but this is also going to allow me to do exactly what I want, which is solve the quest, the character. Your character pretty much always allows you to solve, whereas your companion allows you to do something else. In this case, I'm going to need a blue worker at some point, but that's what we've done. It's now their turn. That moves on 1. They do now have 2, but there is nothing unveiled in that top row, so they're just going to move on 3 for now. There is 2, but there isn't. Ooh, they're on a tile with some of this, so they're going to take 1 of these, and that is worth some points for them at the end of the game. They're going to take a lot more of those tokens than I ever could, but it's kind of representing almost 2 other players on the battlefield with you, hoovering up these corruption tokens. So it's not too much of a problem there. We can now do everything. So there's not much point doing this. So let's move first of all. Let's move, which is going to unveil that. That's also getting us our 4th one of these. You only need 5 for a glory, so I think that's very good. We're going to put some tokens down on that. We're going to take a 4 and a 5, so it could have been up to 5, but no, it's at 9. So we've moved, now we need to play and then gather. Well, I kind of feel in a cheeky way we could do something extra here. Because, what's that? That is a meld. We don't have anything to meld at the moment. That's unfortunate, otherwise that could have been a nice little extra. But let's just go for what we were going to do. Let's gather first of all, which gets us 2 strength because of the location. And now we can play this card to gain 1 more. We're up to 6 there. I'd say that's doing quite well. Spend our worker to solve. So we're going to solve this quest, which costs us. So that costs us 2 strength. So we're going to go back down. We'll then refresh, which means this comes back to us, but we don't move our cube. And then we gain a coin. So maybe I could have done that in a slightly different, better order. But we have a coin, and coins are victory points, and I think that's a 1. Yep, it's got a 1 on it, even if it's printed backwards. Woohoo! 1 point. Okay, so we gathered, we moved, we gathered, and now we have played. And we have now done this, which also completes this mission, this quest, and gets us all of our quest stuff back, which is 1. So we did quite a lot there without doing much at all. I'd say that's a good win. Right, now it is their turn. They're not moving their cube, hallelujah, but they are going to, the top one is going to refresh this card, so that quest is gone. Oh, but another meteorite has come out. Now they're not at 4 glory, so it's just going to move on 2. And the bottom one is not on, we're not on 3 glory, so it's going to move on 3. 1, 2, 3. That was a very quick turn for them. Right, so now I've done my quest. That was kind of what I was going to be aiming for, but now I think what I want to do is get one of these meteorites and slap it to my ship, or to my mech in this case. So I'm going to play my character with that person again. So I gain 1, but most importantly, the choice is either solve a quest or gain a face-up meteorite. There are 2 at the moment, so let's have a look what they actually do. 1 per upgrade, well, we don't have many of those, or 1 per item you control. At the moment I do have 2, so let's take this one, and that will go, it just says gain 1, so I'm assuming it's going to come into my hand. I was slightly incorrect there. Newly gained cards do go into your active row, doesn't matter what they are, and I should probably have done this as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to go for move, because I want 1 more of those map tokens, and play, because we've already done the play, so we need it to be 1 of those. So let's move up here. We've gained our 5th. That will actually get us a star if we go and check it in and sort of pay its cost in. And let's turn over 8 this time. So you can see the top row, the norths, are a bit bigger. So we've actually got 2 5s there, which is quite big. But there we have it. We have finally got a meteorite, and we've done the rest of our turn. No cube movement, that's what we like to see, but unfortunately, finally, they are going to get another map token and flip this one over. Ooh, the ancient temple. Then we're going to need some more tokens. There we go. And then the bottom one is actually just going to move on 1. Right, next up we are going to, what's our general plan? We're going to try and get that meteorite melded onto our mech. So what we're going to need to do is get to one of those spaces, and there are none currently available. However, let's see where we can go. So that would allow us to do it, and it needs 3 and 3. We're at 6 and 2, but en route we could potentially get that. So let's move and gather. Move there. Gathering for 2. That's our turn done, but we've nicely lined up for that meld. I'm going to flick this over. The cube is moving along the track. They have 2 glory, so here we go. This one is starting to do bits and pieces. So another map tile unveiled. That's 7, so it still needs 1. And then if it's got 3 glory, it only has 2, so this one is actually just going to hop on 2 spaces. That's them done. Next up, we want we moved the wrong thing, so we would be there. Right, I need to undo this slightly. I could have moved, it wasn't there, it was there, right? So I think we can scoot around that. I think I moved the wrong mech, but I think it wouldn't have been there because I moved to get the brains. So it must have been there, and you can move through it, so it's absolutely fine. So I think I can get away with it. Roast me in the comments for getting that wrong. Now, let's move and play. So we're going to move here, and then I don't have the yellow worker, so that is an awful idea. So let's slide back there, and let's go back and think about this. Actually, that's completely what I want to do, because I want to come here, move, and play, and I'm going to play this, which I don't have the blue person for, so I really do need to come round and get the blue person. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. We're going to play a card. We're going to play this one, which just gets us a brain or a guile or whatever it's supposed to be. And I will work out what I'm doing in a second. Sorry about all that confusion. Cube is not moving. They don't have 3 glory, so he's moving along the top. That's just going back, looping back over to the other side of the central side. And we can now gather and then move. So we can take a blue worker. I kind of want another yellow worker, just simply because they're good. No. Ooh. Actually, let's do this in a slightly different way. So, let's play and gather. So, let's gather a yellow worker and then play this one with it. So I'm going to get 1 strength for playing that card, and I'm going to gather because I'm placing that worker there, which allows me then to take the blue worker that I'm going to want in a minute. Could have been a lot worse, I think, there. And now onto them. We're going to move the dastardly cube. We're going to refresh on the top one. So that's that card gone. That quest is no longer. But we have another meteorite. Woohoo! They don't have 3 glories, so they're just going to move it on 3. 1, 2, 3. Don't have 4 glories, so they're just going to move 1, 2, 3. That's a nice and simple one. We will be refreshing their deck in a second, but it is our turn first to play and move. We're in this. Oh no! He's now blocking the space that I wanted to go to. Well, this is a bit of a disaster. So I think what we're going to do is take the time to refresh. Hopefully they'll move on. I'm freeing up that space and getting us a bigger turn because we're getting all of our cards back. So let's grab all of those back, and now we've reset and we go again for their turn. Now for their turn, because their decks run out, we're going to reshuffle all of their cards, including the 2. Of course, to make this easy, my camera ran out there for a second, so let's just recap on the 2 turns that you missed. The mechs just moved on a little bit, nothing happened on their turn, but it did free up the space I wanted. So let's just run through what I did. I was here, I gathered by taking a yellow worker, I moved into this space, and then I used my companion to vanquish by using my blue worker. That spent 3 of my strength, my power, 3 of my guile, reducing these tracks. And because I've used my companion to do this, I then gained the ability to meld. So I slid my meteorite underneath like this, and I gain 1 item, 1 coin per item I control to a maximum of 3, which is 2 at the moment. So I gained the 2 coins, and that was my move, play, and gather abilities. I'm very happy with that. And also opens up the opportunity for me to later meld again. And now it's on to their turn, and that's caught you up relatively quickly. Very sorry about that. Right, their cube does not move. Their top one, however, they have 1 glory. They're going to get another little map token. Oh, a lovely little looking ice cave, which is currently blocked by them. And they don't have 5, so the black one is just going to move on by 1. Hopefully try and speed things up a little bit for you now, as I'm learning how they work and just getting back into the game a little bit more. Now I'm going to want to, I think, to try and get some more of these meteorites pretty quickly. And we've got 1, 2, 3 of them out available. If I was to gather, I could actually take a face-up adjacent card, which would be this one. Not great because I don't have, at the moment, an upgrade. However, because I've got 1 thing melded, it would give me 2 of those brains at once. And, well, in this case, brains can help you gain points. Let's have a look around, though. And I think what we're going to do in this case is actually, what does this one do? Gain for quests, and this one, gain per available worker. We've got 4 workers in total, so I think that's the card that we should aim for. Now to do that, we'd need to come around here. So let's make sure we can move and gather. 1, 2, 3, and realise that my silicon ring had fallen off. Gather any face up card. Well, we know which one we want. It goes over there. We refill. Another meteorite. Not many quests coming out, although we have had a couple quests sort of thrown into the bin thanks to our opponent. Whose turn it is now? Right, their cube moves on. They're up to 3 glory now, unfortunately. They are on 3, so they gain that because their thing is looking at where they, if there's 2, they move on. And there is 3. It's going to take 1 token. That's theirs. And what I've realised is they've just uncovered 2 tiles and I've done very little about it. So, well, that's 8 for that one. And that one is 5+. Well, I've pulled 5 straight out of the bag. And I think that actually might be somewhere we want to aim for. Because if we can clear that, we can then get a star onto the board. And I think that's going to be helpful to us longer term. They are blocking it at the moment, but you know, we can get there, we can get there. Right, we've got the items, we've got that reward. So I think we're going to aim for up there, but I don't need a purple worker. It's slightly annoying, but let's move and play. So 1, 2, 3. I'm going to play this card here and shift that up a little bit. Play this one here, allowing me to gather. So I gain 1 strength for playing the card, and this allows me to gather. And whenever you gather, you may pay 1 guile to include a benefit covered by corruption. So we're going to take a coin. We're going to take a purple worker, which, well, there you go. We don't have any use for them at the moment, but we're then going to do that, which is the upgrade. So one of these items, potentially even the one I've just used, yes, well, the one I've just used. So he comes back, and actually that slots under there. So we've now got 1 upgrade, and that whenever you gather thing is now permanently in effect for us. So I think that should be quite helpful as we play throughout the game. Now we move on to their turn, so let's have a look. We've got a blank box at the top, thank God for that. However, they are on 3, so they are going to gain that one. The black one is just going to move on 1 space back to the start. It does mean this space is now free for us to get that star, but unfortunately blocked by an enemy mech, which is not too helpful. So, we can definitely move and gather. But what exactly do we want to move and gather? We could also play and gather. We don't need another purple worker, to be honest. I think what we want to do is maybe gain another face-up meteorite, so we can play. Maybe we do play and gather. Maybe let's just do that again. So we gain 1 purple worker. They'll become available or useful at some point, I'm sure. And then we can play this card, gaining us 1 strength and a face-up meteor card. This new one here, per coloured of cards in your hand. Let's take that That goes over there for now. Let's refresh. This is a meteorite. So I'm just going to give the top lot here a little bit of a shuffle, because otherwise this is going to be very boring. I did give it a shuffle before I started playing, honest. Even if it doesn't look like it. Ah, look, we have a quest. Ooh, interesting. I think we should maybe aim for that now. Right, so that is our play and gather. We've done that. Let's see what our opponent does. I keep leaving these on the sawmill, but oh well. The cube is moving on 1. It's going to sweep the top one, so that meteorite has gone, replaced by another quest. Ooh. Well, maybe we grab that one as well if we can. The top one, they have 3 glory, so it's going to move on a space, uncovering this one. And that is the special token, which of course I'll put in the box up here. Right, so we've done that. They've done that. They are not on 4, so he is moving 1, 2, 3, along like that. Right, next up we are going to move. So we want one of the quests really. So coming here would get us one of the quests. So we're going to move and gather. 1, 2, 3. Or why are we doing that when we can move 1 here, gather a quest and turn in some stars? So we've got 2 quests, both of them needing to go to number 14, which is quite interesting, and both that we can do. However, this allows us to do a meteorite melding by sort of doing the quest. So I think that's what we're going to go for. So we take that card straight away from the face up, we replace it like so. Another meteorite. Oh, that could be good, could be good. And then we have 5, so we can put our first star onto having 5 of those. And that means this quest here is now worth, because of that quest, that star is worth 6 instead of 5. Woohoo! Dear. Right. I don't think that was too bad a start. So, as in, we've got 1 star, and it does speed up. Once you've got 1 star, some of your cards even give you more stuff. So, let's have a look. What are the opponents going to do in retaliation? They're going to move their cube. Boo! They're going to refresh the top card. He's right next to that meteor. Oh, which actually wasn't that good for us. Ooh, a new item with a purple worker. Ooh, it's very interesting, very exciting, because I've got 2 of them and they're not doing anything. Right, and they are looking. They have 3 glory, and within 1, 2, 3, they have that. So I'm very glad that I managed to do that objective of these, because they have now completely dominated and taken so many of those tokens, which, to be fair, it kind of happens in a multiplayer game. So we've got 4 and a 5 on there. And this one is going to move 2. I'm going to put those back over here. Okay, so what do we really want to do? Before we reset, I think we kind of want to use this card. We also want to aim to get over to that observatory and getting those cards back so we can solve that quest. So let's do that. So what we're going to do is gather and play. Now the reason I'm doing it is because I want this card as well. So let's take that first, throw that over there, and now I've gathered. I don't think I can do any others. I've not got 4 of anything else yet, although I do have 7 cards. 8 cards is another opportunity to get points, so I really was quite close to that. I'll maybe go and grab that in a minute. Does that change what I want to do? Yes, it actually does. So what we're going to do is we'll undo that. I'm going to play this card first, because this card, if I play it with a worker, I get my guile, as I always will, but this allows me to gain a card. Any face-up card. We'll have that one. Throw it over there. I know you can't see that, and I am sorry about that, but there's only so much space I can get on this table, and in good quality zoomage. So we've got that card, which means we now have 7 cards. So I can now gain another card, and I'm going to go for a meteorite if I can. I'm going to gain this meteorite just simply because I want to meld another one in a minute. That goes over there as well. But now we do have 8 cards, so while I'm here I can gain a card and put a star down for having 8. And that is some very good timing, I think. So we're going to turn this over. They're going to move their cube on by 1, and they're going to then take off one of these. They are then going to take one off there, and that is their card done. They're certainly stockpiling a lot of resources just off camera down here, which isn't good for me. I'm going to now, I think, have to refresh. So that gets me all of these cards back. I think that's a good thing. All of these cards back. So now I can try and work out a few turns in one go. So for instance, I'm definitely going to want to play this, because that will allow me to solve that. I can then use this to activate a previous card, which will allow me to solve this. So there's 2 turns worked out, and we'll see how that works. So it's their turn, I've reset, now it's theirs again. So top one is sweeping that up, which is a good reminder for me to fill all of the locations. Oh, look at that little cap there. So we've filled the location. They don't have 4 glory yet. It's very close. So they're going to move on 2. They have 3 though, so they are taking that one. But it unveils a space for us to use, so it could be good in the long run. And now back to us. Right, what we want to do is get to 14. 14 is blocked. Ah, dear, dear, dear. That's a bit of a blow. Kind of, well, we're going to have to do everything. So we're going to have to move, play and gather. So I think we're going to have to do some melding. So looking at these, I've got 3 cards that can meld. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, move to there. We're then going to play a card and then gather. And the reason I'm playing one of these cards first is because of the sort of little combo of I can meld something from over there. These both need red workers, which I don't have. This I have a blue worker. So I'm going to play this card over here into my hand, into my active row. Gets me 1 guile. And I'm then going to place a blue worker on it, which allows me to upgrade, which means I can then stick this underneath here. So now I've got 2 upgrades done. And if I had 2 melded things, I'd actually gain strength for my upgrades, which I don't have. So now I've moved, played, I'm now going to gather this location, which is melding this, which gains me 1 money per upgrade. Look at that, that's a wombo-y combo of sorts there, I'd say. So we get 2 money. So let's put some of this back. Let's put 3 back and then get one of these 5s. Look at that. That was a nice little combo of sorts there. Okay, so that's them. Let's hope that top one moves. That would be real pain if it doesn't. They are now on 4 glory. Dum 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 dum. So much dum 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 that the light decided to turn off there, which was quite impressively timed. Right, where have we got to? We've moved they've got their 4th cube, and now they are on 4. God, that's some bad timing for us. They're going to take that token off there and not move from where we need to go. The next one, there are none of those, so it's looking for one of those map tokens. There are none left, so it's just going to move 3. Oh, we just needed that one to move, and of course that's when it decided it didn't want to. Right, well in that case what we're going to try and do is block movement so that we can do it next time. And we're going to block movement and play and gather. So we're going to play one of these 2 cards, which are very similar in art style, but they actually are slightly different wise. So, not going to get to do either of the bottom parts, but I will get a bonus for having some melded stuff. So, play that card, gaining 2 strength rather than the normal 1. And then... Ooh. Yep, let's then meld this card with the option there, which I tuck underneath here. I should have also gained for that, but I didn't have any items. That was something I forgot to say. So, because you gain everything that you've pre-done, that's why it's engine building-ish. So in this case, I'm going to gain 1 per available worker up to a maximum of 3. So that's a maximum of 3. 2 upgrades, that's 5, and still no items. That's still 5 more that I'm going to get in total for melding that. So, well, I didn't get to quite do what I'm aiming for. That paid off quite nicely, actually. But I am going to have to move on my next turn. Let's see what they are doing. They're, of course, moving onwards, striving down there. They are not on 5 glory, so they will move 2. Haha, you have moved off the space that I want. Oh, and the bottom one will now clear. Clear everything around it. And it's looking for one of those map tokens again. So 1, 2, oh, 1, 2, 3, because it skips me. Right. Do we go for our 4th meld, which would be worth points, or do we go for... Well, big choices here. I think it's going to be worth us going for that 4th meld. So we're going to move and gather. We're going to gather first, which is going to meld this final card. So, we're going to gain 1 per colour of cards among your hand. No maximum, but there's only 4 colours, and I've got 5 colours, but I've got 3 of them. I've still got the maximum available workers, so that's 6, 7, 8. Well, let's put these back and get a shiny 10 from the market. So that is all the melding I cannot do anymore. It goes up to a 4, so we can't do that again, but we don't want to because we are zooming off to, where are we zooming off to? The observatory, of course. Right at the top of the board, you can only just see it, actually I've seen on the screen there, so we're almost off the top, but we are there. Right, we have moved, we've gathered, it's their turn. The cube is moving onwards. Oh, they are rocketing too much. They've not got 6, however, so they're going to move on. 1, 2, 3. They are going to clear up again. God, this one hardly did any clearing, and all of a sudden it's doing loads. Maybe I missed that on an earlier card. It does have one, but it's got none of those tokens to look for, so it's going to move on one. Right, that's their turn done. Nice and simple one. Right, we're going to play and... we don't really need to gather, but yes, play and gather. We're going to use this with a yellow worker. Now we have 2 stars. We're actually going to get, for playing that one card, 2 strength and 1 guile. And we're going to then play a quest card. Does it matter which one we play first? Well, actually, the one quest we were going to do about melding, well, we've kind of ruined that. So I should maybe not have done that, but oh well. So we're going to do this one instead. We'll finish this quest. That costs us 3 power. But gets us a map token. Yeah, a map token, which is kind of pointless to us. And that's that. We tuck that under. Because we have used our character to do that, we're going to get 1 of each, because that's how many quests we've done. And we're gathering on that space, which gets another map token, which is completely pointless. Back to the opponent. He's probably going to have a better turn than us. Oh, they're 1 step away from their 5th glory now. They need 5 glory, but they don't have it. They're going to move on 2. 1, 2. And they're just going to move on 1, 2. I did say earlier on that it made sense that at the start this guy is doing lots and then it's going to be this one, and that does seem to be the case at the moment at least. Right, so we're going to play, and I'm going to turn this card in. I'm just going to assume it's a benefit. If I can't do it, I don't get the benefit. That's how I'm going to assume this works, because that would make sense. So I'm going to use my companion, which gets me 3 brains. With that, I'm going to activate the previous card's ability. So I'm going to come here, which uses this one to solve another quest, paying 3 brains to complete the quest. I then gain 1 strength and 2 brains because of my quests. And I think maybe we're going to aim for this one over here. I think that could be a very good way to do things. So I've played, I now have to move. Well, let's move to here. Is there anywhere better I can move to? Not really. Well, we could move to there. I'm not sure it's worth it at the moment. Or maybe it is. Let's just move all the way there and we'll try and work it out in a second. We're going to be shuffling up their cards because they've run out. Remove 2. Their top card. They got their 5th glory, damn it. 5th glory is done. Now, this is interesting. I believe they always, and let's just check the rule, they always skip my space. For all purposes, they skip my location, which is really good because otherwise they don't have 7 anyway, so they're just going to move on 3. 1, 2, 3. Whew. They're going to just move on 2, 1, 2. That's a very simple card done. Trying to make it more complicated. So I don't have any cards left. I have melded so much, I've done so many quests, I now don't have cards, which is a bit of a problem, to be honest. I could really do with 1 more each of these 2. Ah dear. So I think what I'm going to have to do is refresh to get these 2 cards back. But with these 2 cards, I can actually do quite a lot now. So, that's my very annoyingly short turn done. There is no map tokens left, so he's moving on 1. They do have 5, so it's going to move along and gobble one of these tokens up. Oh, that's more points in the bank for them. That's painful. But back to me. I'm going to do everything. So I have to move after this. Didn't think that through, did I? Ah, dear, 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 dear. Right, let's see what's the best I can make out of this situation then. I haven't done 4 quests. I have melded 4 though. So, I don't have enough for that. So I'm going to play this with a yellow worker. Everything is at max. I'm going to gain a face-up meteorite, of which there are 2, but they don't matter too much to me at the moment, so we'll just take that one. We have played a card. We are now going to move and gather. So we'll take a face-up card. We'll take a quest. Always good to have a quest, I think. And we have got, for that location, we can do a star because we have 4 of these melded. So that wasn't too bad after all. On to the opponent's turn. Feel like things are speeding up. They are looking for a token. They've got a token. That is just simply moving on low. Whew. Back to us. We want to move and play. Because we can now play this. We've got 3 brains coming in, but we can't use any of them. But we are going to vanquish this special token. And if you do that, it allows you to put a star down, which is this star. That's our 4 stars done. Let's do points. Oh my god, that worked out very quickly at the end there. I didn't think it was wrapping up, but it actually was. So let's work out and go through points. So this is all the stuff that the bot picked up. So it's getting 1 point for each map token. So that is 3, 6, 9. Damn, she's fine. I hope you get that reference. That's 9 points. 2 for every one of these, which again, another 9. So that is 27 in total for these, plus 4 for each star. So that's 27 points, plus 5 stars of 20 for 47 points. And I'm going to remember that by getting, for the bot, 20, 47 out of the bank. Now let's see how much we have scored, and I will just check that that is how they get their money. Coins based on the bottom of the card. If I was on a higher level, those might be worth more. I have got 4, which means quests are worth 10 each, so that is 30. So 30 from the bank, which has gone next to the 20 I already have, and if you can do some maths in your head, you'll already know the outcome. I've got 6 from this over here. From the things that the upgrades you do, they get you some straight money. So let's just check the original rulebook. End of the game. So you gain the coins that you had at the start, glory, which I've done from here, upgraded items, and for these, for each one of them you get $2. So trade that in for a 5. And I ended my score with 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 to the bot's 47. And that is how you play Expeditions solo. Woo! I won. Well, hope you enjoyed. I hope you could follow along roughly. I know I couldn't show you the actual cards, but you could see moving around the map. I tried to explain as we went along what I was doing, what some of the cards did, what they said, and all that sort of stuff, so you can have a look, see if it's for you. Either way, drop us a comment. If you're still here, say that this is a weird sequel to Scythe in the comments, because it kind of is. Anyway, till next time, have a great day gaming.